What's going on, guys? Dottz Gaming here. Today we have our first Q&A video. I extended on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook just an invite for you guys to ask me questions on anything. I know that at the end of my streams, I like to do this thing called Fireside Chat, which was the inspiration for the podcast name, where I basically just have a Q&A session with the stream, or we just BS about, whatever. We just talk, hang out. It's such a good time. But I know that obviously doesn't apply to the people on YouTube because, a lot of you guys either can't make the streams because of the time zone difference, or maybe streams aren't your thing. So videos is mainly the main form of my content that you consume. So this was a Patreon requested video, so I'm really happy to be able to do it. But if this is something you guys enjoy, I'd love to hear in the comments below. And if you guys really like this, we can continue to do this, once a month or something like that, where we do kind of like a Q&A video, but we'll see how it goes. I have a good bit of questions today, not a lot, but I have a good bit. I think enough to at least make this first video. So again, hope you guys enjoy it. So I'm going to basically kind of clip the questions and stick them above my head here while I answer them. So we have a bunch on YouTube, a couple from Twitter, and we don't really have anything from Facebook. So Sanius asks, I have a bit of a noob question. I've always been confused how max stats affect your light attack damage. If you're spec'd into Magicka using an SMB, would that hurt your light attack damage? It seems like it would at least kill your penetration. I typically play Stam tunes, but just started a Mag DK. So yeah, when you are, this mostly is referring to Magicka tunes that use stamina weapons. You really don't see a destruction staff Stam DK. That's not something you're going to see. This mainly refers to Magicka tunes utilizing dual wield and utilizing a sword and board. And yes, your light attack damage sucks because your light attack damage, for sword and board and for dual wield, that scales off of weapon damage, that scales off of stamina. So your Magicka and your spell damage doesn't affect that at all. So in that case, yes, your light attack damage is pretty ass. But the main reason you use sword and board is for the passives. The passives, the blocking passives, and what that enables for yourself. That is the main reason you would choose a sword and shield. For dual wield, the main reason you would choose dual wield is for that final passive, Twin Blade and Blunt, to allow you to get extra damage while utilizing swords. Same thing for a two-handed weapon. I think it's the heavy weapons passive, if I'm remembering correctly. You would use a sword to, again, get a flat weapon damage or spell damage increase, or just in general damage to your character. Getting that passive will give you that bit of damage on your character. You necessarily use those weapons for the light attack damage. It's, because the light attack damage, again, scales off of your weapon damage and your stamina, but you use it for the passives that you gain. Your Resto Staff and your Destro Staff scale off of Magicka and spell damage, while your sword and board, dual wield, 2H, and bow are based off of stamina and weapon damage. And in terms of penetration, yeah, you're really not penetrating with your light attacks per se, but otherwise, no, it doesn't really affect your penetration at all. But like I said, especially for a Mag DK, you like the sword and board because of the amazing mitigation that you can get from it, and what that offers to your character. So hopefully that makes sense, man. Hopefully I was able to explain that well enough for you. But when in doubt, look at the passives. If you need to, I have an entire weapons guide on my YouTube channel. You can check that out, where I go over every weapon and why you would use it. So Ryan Palmer asks, hey Dottz, I was wondering if you're going to give WoW Classic a try when it is released. Not in my plans. Really not in my plans right now. I've been recently focusing a lot on ESO. Ever since I've made the new mag, that I've really loved playing ESO again. I think making a new class was really needed for me. I didn't realize how burnt out I was feeling until I made a new character and was like, wow, I feel so refreshed. So I think creating a new character was really good for me, and I've been really liking ESO again. I have a lot of fun with it. But right now, in terms of other games that I've been experimenting with and been trying, I've obviously been trying Black Ops. I've been experimenting with Destiny 2. And another game that I've been trying kind of on the DL is Battle Right Royale. I've heard of Battle Right before, but they came out with a Royale version. It is a MOBA Battle Royale. And I've been playing that off stream a good bit, and it is pretty fun. I'm not going to lie. I've really been enjoying it. So I think if I start to like it, if I continually like it and I'm having a good time with it, maybe I'll start to stream it. But for now, it's just kind of something I've been playing off stream. But no, WoW Classic really isn't in my plans. I'm kind of World of Warcraft is kind of behind me. It was a really, really fun period of my life. I really enjoyed it, but I think it is time for WoW to stay in the past, similarly to how RuneScape is still in the past. It's a fond memory. I treasure it, but it's no longer in my plans to play anymore. So Parza Strife asks, I started playing about a month ago and have a CP 290 Mag DK with 5 pieces of Destruction Mastery, 4 pieces of Seducer, and 3 pieces of Willpower. I haven't done any vet stuff or trials at all and would like to start doing these, but I have no idea where to start or what to do. Could you give me a few tips? The best way to start, especially so your CP 290, I think a good way, because you're above CP 160, which is the gear cap, the best place to start is to kind of start looking at some PvE builds. Made by, like, you have, like, myself, you have Outcast, you have Zynode, you have people that put out those PvE builds on our websites. You can go and browse the different builds, you know, see whose build kind of, you know, tickles your fancy, what you really like and enjoy. Maybe you can even look to see if there are any common threads between those 3 builds. I know people like to kind of use others' builds for reference, like as a point to kind of look at, see what they do, and then draw their own conclusions. So you can even do that. You can look at builds from a bunch of different creators, kind of see what, like I said, what common threads are between them, and kind of put something together for yourself. But 5-piece Destruction Mastery is very good set. So if you kind of want to just go with the gear that you have, in my opinion, the best way to start would be to keep that 5-piece. That would have to assume it's on the body. I don't know what pieces they are exactly, but assuming your Destruction Mastery is all armor, what I would do is keep your 5-piece Destruction Mastery on the body. You can have your 3 pieces of Willpower on the jewelry. You want to get the Valken Scoria monster set, or you can get Grothdar, or you can get Zons if you're able to. Based on your question, I'm going to assume you're not able to, so actually Grothdar would probably be your best bet. So you want the Grothdar monster helmet and shoulder, the 5-piece Destruction Mastery, keep the 3-piece Willpower, and then you could just use like Seducer stabs, because you'll at least get that 2-piece. And you can kind of use that temporarily, and then moving forward, move towards like a full end game setup that usually will use like 5-piece Sororia. You have the 2-piece either Grothdar or Zons, and then that second 5-piece could be whatever you'd like. I personally like Burning Spellweave, but there's, you know, a lot of things you could try, and then eventually, I'd say when you're about CP 400 to 450, maybe give VMA a try and work towards getting your Veteran Maelstrom Arena staff. So hopefully that answered your question, Parza. By the way, if any of you guys, if I answer any of your questions and you didn't feel that I gave a complete enough answer, again, feel free to leave another comment below and I'll answer it in the comments. Gianni Richmond asked, what's your favorite build to run? Right now, that's tough. Right now, that's tough, because at the time of recording this, my Magden is like just freshly level 50. Just freshly level 50. In my opinion, my favorite build to run will hopefully be my Magden build. Hopefully, putting that time into leveling him was worth it. I think it's going to be. I had fun leveling him, and all I did was run around Spellscar. But I have a kind of like an AoE frost-based lockdown build, high damage plan. It's going to be super fun. I'm really excited for it. And my whole thought process with the Magden build that I put together was to basically utilize gear sets to deal my damage, all frost themed. Use gear sets to deal my damage instead of using like stats, because I know Magden doesn't necessarily have the best DPS. So my logic was like, why invest so heavily into getting all these great stats if the DPS is fundamentally pretty low? So I wanted to try to use gear sets and procs and things like that to handle the majority of my damage. So I'm looking forward to that build. I think it's going to be a ton of fun to run. But if we're going to put him aside and like right now, currently, what's my favorite build to run? Probably the Shade build for my Stamina Nightblade. I think that's my favorite build. I'm going to make a video on it. Not the week I release this video, but I believe the following week I want to release the build video on that. It's a heavy armor Stamblade build. Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun. Oh, you know, I like Stamblade. It's not like I love Stamblade enough to make it my main, but I love to dink around on that build kind of whenever I'm just like in the mood to feel like because the build is really fun. It's fun to play. But yeah, I'd say that at the current moment, that Stamblade build is probably my favorite to play. But moving forward, I think that Magden build is going to be super fun. It's going to be super fun. because just the amount of AoE damage and pressure that it's going to have is going to be amazing. So we have Sonny Collins asks another noob question. I don't know about light attacks, but if you dump all your points into a stat, does that really increase damage? So if I put all my points into Magicka, Flame Lash would do more damage than if I put all my points in a Stam. So to clarify, I know it would still lower the max damage output doing be able to cast it less. I'm referring to the tooltip. Yes. Your stats directly affect the tooltip. So again, if your skill costs Magicka, the more Magicka you have, the higher the tooltip damage will be. Your Magicka and your spell damage affect the tooltips of your Magicka skills. Your weapon damage and your stamina affect the tooltips of your stamina skills. So, nice, easy question to answer. So hopefully I was able to clear that up for you, Sonny. We also have Don Wazi asking on Twitter, who were your biggest inspirations when coming to the Elder Scrolls Online, like streamers and YouTubers? Ooh, that was a while ago. Because I actually really only watch other ESO content creators the first time I started playing ESO. Like when I created the first complete beginner guide, I was playing ESO for like a month. And I made like a complete beginner guide on it because at the time there was like nothing there. And I was watching a bunch of streamers at the time. And then I stopped playing ESO for a year and then kind of came back to the game. And then, yeah, no, to be fair, yeah, I did start watching more creators again. But if I was to name like my top, I'd say probably, I can only think of like five, I guess, five off the top of my head. I would say I watched, in terms of streamers, I watched Cypher, Lefty Lucy, and King Richard the most. They were so, they were all so good at the game. I really enjoyed watching them when I first started. And, I liked the three of them individually. Probably King Richard the most out of the three because they were all not only really good at the game, but they were all really highly interactive with their chats, which I appreciated the hell out of. So in terms of streamers, I'd say probably the three of them. I enjoyed watching all three of them for individual reasons. And I kind of watched them based on who was online at the time. And I also liked watching their PvP podcast, even though I didn't understand half of what the hell they were saying. I was, at the time, I was just trying to learn anything. So I watched their podcast. I think the Fang Rush was a part of that too. I think it was We Are ESO. So I would watch their videos to basically just try to learn anything that I could. So the three of them in terms of streamers, and then in terms of YouTubers, I watched primarily Gilliam for information. I learned so much from watching Gilliam's videos, and then I would watch KevDeWitt whenever I needed some really solid comedic relief, or if I obviously needed some leveling tips or gold guides, because we all know those are Kev's specialties. Love you, Kev. But yeah, those are probably my five. Cypher, Lefty Lucy, King Richard, Gilliam, and KevDeWitt. Probably the five people I watch the most. And then finally we have Saykart asks, topic of discussion for your Q&A video, how to fix the power creep of champion points, whether making an entirely new system or fixing the current one. Ugh, that is a loaded question. Because I know people have really strong opinions on the CP system. Overall, I actually, and I know people are going to cringe and blitz the comments as soon as I say this. Overall, I like the champion point system. Overall, I like it. I also like tuning the numbers and stuff. I like messing with the different numbers to see how it affects my sustain, how it affects my damage, being able to put all my points into all dot damage, put all my points into direct damage. I like being able to mess with those different mathematical factors of my build. Personally, I enjoy that. And I remember that when I first started playing ESO, way back when, again, I went that period of time where I only played for about a month. I knew veteran ranks were in the game, and I started the game because of a friend who told me to get started in the ESO, and he was showing me the game and whatnot. It was pretty fun at the time. Again, I only played for about a month or two. But even he said at the time, he's like, veteran ranks fucking suck. He's like, you're going to get to those, and you're going to realize they're miserable, they're terrible, they take forever. And so I was super glad when I came back and they got rid of those and CP was in the game. But I definitely agree that we're now beginning to slowly reach a point where we have an insane amount of power creep because of the amount of points that everybody's beginning to gain patch after patch after patch. I think a good idea, and this is again just off the top of my head, something that they could do would be to lower the percentages of the individual stars, but like you'd have to do it proportionally. Like you can't just lower like blue CP and not lower red CP, or just lower green CP. You know what I'm saying? So like if it's like a 25% star, maybe make it like a 20% star. If it's a 15% star, maybe make it a 10. Something like that. If it's a 10, maybe make it like a 5. Something like that. You don't have to go. Those aren't the exact numbers that I think. Again, I don't have the champion points sitting in front of me because I'm just looking at the question itself. But I think something like that. Maybe keeping the system that they currently have, but just lowering the maximum value of the individual stars. So maybe keep the levels the same, but you will get less. Can keep them front loaded, but towards the higher tiers, you'll get less percentage wise. That's just like my initial idea of what they could do. But overall, I like the CP system. Overall, I like it. I'm not too. I don't have really many huge issues with it. I think moving forward again to help prevent the power creep, something that they could look to do is, like I said, just lower the max value of the stars, but do it proportionally. Like don't nerf elemental expert and then not nerf elemental defender. Don't nerf elfborn and then not nerf in resistant. Like you need to proportionally lower things, and I think that could be a possible solution for the power creep. That's the first thing that comes to my head though. So that's really all I can think of on the fly. But that's pretty much all the questions I got. Looking through, that's the majority of the questions that I got. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. This was a nice, easy one to make. Super, super fun to sit down and do. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you guys really, really like this, again, like I said, I can ask you guys in the future for some more questions, and we can make this a monthly series similarly to how the Fireside Chat is a monthly series. But let me know what you guys think. And if you like this, please go ahead and smack a like on it. And for more content like this, Fireside Chats, dungeon guides, PvP builds, PvP montages, other games, and other great gaming content, please hit that sub button as well as the bell to make sure that you're keeping notifications on. Thank you all so much for stopping by today. Again, hope you really enjoyed this. Leave your thoughts below. And yeah, I am Dottz Gaming. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.